Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you for joining me another week. In today's video, we are going to be digging into the little TD-6 that's sitting behind me. I don't want to jinx it, but hopefully we can get this thing started today. It has been several weeks, maybe even several months since I put out a video on this thing, and let me catch you up on where we stand. So in the last video on this tractor, we were successful in getting the engine to turn over. It had been sitting outside for several years, probably close to a decade. Honestly, I can't remember for sure, but we did. We popped the intake manifold off and dumped some penetrating fluid down the spark plug holes and let it sit. And we were fortunate that we were able to get the engine broken free. We haven't had to take, we haven't taken the head off or anything yet. We're hoping we don't have to, but depending on what happens today, we may have to get take the head off. We took the valve cover off and we made sure that all of the valves are free. And then as we were turning this engine over, we were able to see that all of the valve train moves like it should. And so now we've just been waiting for months now for this starter to be rebuilt. And in the last video I put out, I mentioned that we had a donor tractor, a Farmall MD, that we were planning on robbing that starter off of that MD. However, a viewer pointed out that the direction that the MD starter spins is opposite from what the direction that a TD-6 starter spins. And I think that he is absolutely right, because if you look how the starter is oriented on this tractor, it is on the left-hand side of the engine and it's facing backwards. So basically the Bendix gear is going to be plunging into the starting ring gear right there in the backwards direction. The engine on this spins over, as I'm looking at it right here, it's spinning over clockwise. And so to get this ring gear to spin clockwise, your starter has to be spinning counterclockwise from this direction. On an MD, I'll put up a picture of it and I'll try to explain it here. The starter on an MD, it's the same engine as we have here, but that starter is coming in from the backside. But basically, since we have the same engine, one starter coming in from the front and the other coming in from the back, then the Bendix gears on those two starters, in order to keep the engine, to spin the engine the same direction, those two starters have got to be spinning in opposite directions. So rather than spending time trying to pull that starter off of that MD, that parts one that we have access to, we decided to just go in and have that starter off of this TD-6 rebuilt. And we've been waiting a couple of months for that, and it's just, we don't have it yet. And so we are going to try another option today. Rather than waiting on that starter, we actually have a friend who has farmed with crawler tractors, specifically international crawler tractors, TD-9s and TD-14s. And they had a couple of TD-6s throughout the years. But he farmed with TD-6, with international crawlers, all growing up, and even he farmed with them himself on his farm. He's now an older gentleman, but talking to him, he said, well, rather than putting the starter back on, he says, if that tractor's been sitting that long, you're going to be better off just pull starting it. And if the engine is a little bit stiff, you don't want to, it'd be good to get that engine to cranking over, not with the starter, but just with the tracks. He said what you'd be better off doing is hooking a chain on to the crawler down here on either side, so that then you're pulling off of the center line of the tractor and pull starting it, and that'll get that engine going over. And he says, see if you can get this engine started on diesel or gasoline, because that's half the battle. He says actually it'd be better to try to get it started. They run much better off of diesel, so he says try to get it started just in diesel mode. But we might just try to pull start it today, focusing on just getting the gas, getting it to start off of gas, and then while it's running off of gas, hopefully we can bleed the diesel system and get some fuel from the tank back there through the lines, up through the filters, and up into the combustion chamber, through the injection pump, while it's running off of gasoline, and then flopping the lever back forward and getting it to swap over to diesel. So there's a lot that we've got to do today. The very first thing I got to do is I got to put the intake manifold and the magneto that we have for it. I've got to get all of that mounted back on the engine and get it all buttoned up so that we can get it, so that it's actually ready to start.
I would assume a little bit of water is going to come out.
Yeah, just from condensation. Yeah, there's some water. That's all. Now it's oil. Well, yeah. Let's see.
No, they're still coming out.
Yeah. That's water.
Or gas. But
Yeah.
gas.
Oh, we put in...
WD-40 and stuff, but that might mix in with the oil.
Yeah.
That's probably just water.
Yeah, it's water. But it's not clear water. It's...
Do you want to just change the oil?
Well, it was pretty good, wasn't it?
Well, apparently not, because it's full of water.
I'm going to check. That's water. A fair amount of water.
Yeah. We better change that, Dad.
Yeah.
Let's get all that water out and then let's just drop the oil.
Now it's quit. The water's quit. And now there's
Oil. Yeah, no, I can see it's chunky oil.
gunky oil.
I'll get an oil pan for you. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Move your hand for a second. Oh, yeah.
Ooh. That was a lot of gunk. A lot.
It's starting to get full. Get ready to change. You better change it. I'll push this one under. You pull it out of the way.
Ooh. That's a hard one. Ooh.
There we go.
Oh, there wasn't much left.
That was about it.
Yeah.
So if you look right here, we do have a distributor on the tractor, and I don't want to have to worry about a battery, hooking up a battery and everything to the tractor to get it started today. So we're going to be taking this distributor off, and we're going to be putting on this magneto back here that I've got sitting on the shelf. This is what we pulled off of that Parts MD tractor, and I rebuilt this, and I have very, very good consistent spark on that. Sitting next to the magneto, you'll see that I've got this intake manifold and the carburetor sitting right here. In the video that I put out of us going through the carburetor and the intake manifold and getting all of this cleaned up, you'll remember that there was a throttle plate sitting on top of the carburetor that was missing when I went through this carburetor. Luckily, off of that Parts MD, I have this right here. Oh boy, come on. I have this intake manifold with a carburetor, and in my shop back at home, I pulled this carburetor off, and luckily we had the throttle plate. And then this is the manifold, the intake manifold with the carburetor. You can see this guy. It's got a little bit of a cobweb problem down inside there. You can see that this thing has been sitting around for quite a while. But I'm going to take this carburetor off and see if we have the throttle plate. I explained this in the previous video. This is the carburetor off of our TD-6, and when I took it off, as I was rebuilding it, I noticed that the throttle plate right here that goes on this standoff, I noticed that that was missing. So I'm hoping that this carburetor has that throttle plate on it. There we go. Ha ha! Check it out. That's exactly what I wanted. That throttle plate. Perfect. Now let's get this carburetor up here. Grab my screwdriver here. And there might be some spacers underneath this, because this has to be, or is supposed to be, a certain distance. Looks like no spacers, really. Maybe just like a little, I don't know, can you see that? Like a little rectangular washer, like lock washer type thing that's just holding everything in place. Let's try that on here. Well, let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I got this throttle plate cleaned up a little bit. Now, I just watched a video from another YouTube channel where the fellow rebuilt a carb for an MD. The channel was Just a Few Acres Farm. I'm sure that lots of you have probably seen that. Have probably seen that channel before. And in that video, Pete, he said that the gap between the top surface of this carburetor and that throttle plate should be between 3/32 and 7/64 of an inch. So I've got my little star at scale right here. There's my 30 seconds. So 3/32 right here, or 7/64. So let's check and see what that is. That is actually more than 3/32. That's actually a little more than 4/32. So I wonder if I should remove that spacer. I'm going to try removing that spacer that's under here and see if I can get it to be down within that spec he called out. Whoa, rolled away from me. See, so I'm going to try to remove that. Give me a minute. Okay. This is that little spacer that was tucked up in there. We'll save that over there. And let's put this back down and see what the gap is now. Okay, that is tight. Can you see down in there? Let's measure that gap now. Let me get you up in here. Hopefully you can see this. That is right at 3/32. So I'm going to call that good. Okay, so I'm in the process of putting this magneto on, and we had to find top dead center on cylinder number 1, so we did that. And as we were doing that, you can see
I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, but there's the mark on the on the front pulley, and it's in line right there.
We also just went through the whole spinning the flywheel over and watching all of the valves open and close. So we've verified that number 1 is at the top dead center, but what we've just noticed is these valve clearances are so far off. There's supposed to be 19 thousandths on a cold engine for both intake and exhaust, and what we've found is that there's way more than 19 thousandths there on the exhaust. And on the intake, I think that this valve might actually even be held open because we're not feeling any compression when we're turning the engine over. And we just watched the intake valve open and close and then spun the engine half a revolution. So there's no compression right now in number 1. So either there's a big mechanical problem with the engine or that valve is being held open. So we're going to adjust the valves, go through that process on, 1, 3, 4, 2 for both intake and exhaust and get those so that they are correct. Well, before I can bleed the diesel, I better hop down. Well, before I can bleed the diesel system, it needs to have diesel in it. So that's what I just did. I put about 5 gallons of fuel down here into the tank. And our tank is nice and clean. It was completely empty, right? Before I put that in there. So now we've got some fuel in there, and I'm just going to try to start bleeding everything here at the filters first. Okay, the very first place that the fuel goes when it comes out of the tank is down into this little sediment bowl water separator. And I just popped this glass bowl off, and you can see how dirty and gunky that is. So I'm going to go clean that off and then just work my way up through the whole system, trying to bleed all of the diesel, trying to bleed all of the air out of the diesel system. Well, I cleaned this bowl up a little bit, and if you can see, it's got a huge crack in it. It was holding liquid, so it might be, it might still work. Otherwise, we might have to find something to take this place. Because the tops of the filters right here are just a couple of inches higher than the bottom of the tank. I measured the bottom of the tank is like 41 or 42 inches off the ground. And then the top of these filters is, about 43 inches. So should be good. Well, I just removed the bleed screws from the top of both of these filters. This is labeled as the final fuel filter. This is labeled as the auxiliary fuel filter. If these are correct, this one says vent while engine is not running, and this one says vent when engine is running. But I just removed them both, and this final one filled faster than this auxiliary one. So I'm going to go ahead and it's empty now. This is full now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this bleeder valve back in. I'll tighten that down, and hopefully we can get fuel coming out the top of this one too. Right now I'm in the process of draining all of the what appears to be diesel, no oil, out of this injection pump, and then I'll refill it with the right amount of oil up to this check valve. Okay, that's draining out now, so this injection pump is full. Now, oh boy.
pretty bad. You see that? It's just water. I'm lucky this thing isn't rusted out on the bottom. Whew. Okay, I've got the oil bath air cleaner taken off and pretty much cleaned up at this point. It does have this weird spinny thing here that I took it apart and cleaned everything off, and now I'm just putting it back together. I have no idea what this does, what it is, but if you do know what this is, please comment that down below, because I have never seen something like that before. But anyway, let's get this put back on, and then the tractor will be able to breathe some nice fresh clean air. So anyway, we're gonna go grab the 3020, open up the garage door and find some planks, and then drive it. We'll pull it out across the blacktop and out into the field, and then hopefully start trying to start it. So as you can see, we've had a lot of rain the last few days. This is actually like the wettest October northern Utah has ever had. So the field's a little bit damp. Hopefully, as we go out in there, hopefully the 3020 doesn't just spin. If it does, then we'll just kind of go back and forth along this little gravel patch, and we'll just try it out, try it to get it started along this gravel patch. So we'll see. Okay, so I'm in 5th gear right now. My dad's gonna start pulling me, and then once we get going, I'll pull the clutch back, and it should at that point start cranking the engine over. Still won't start because I don't have the starting lever pulled back. Stop for a second. Let's see. What am I doing here? I've got to pull this back like that. Let's do that right now. I'm just in neutral again. He's going to try to pull me through this muddy spot.
diesel mode.
Well, there's no diesel anywhere though.
What do you mean no diesel?
Up in the system,
How do you know?
because I just drained everything.
I thought you bled it out.
Well, I bled it up into here, but I haven't bled it
So where's that smoke coming from? That smells like diesel.
well, because we dumped a whole bunch of stuff down inside of it. Maybe this is. Maybe this was running. Let me pull that back. Okay, I think I also had the diesel throttle. I think I had the diesel pushed up full throttle up here. Now I think I've got it to off. That's why it was smoking so bad. Now we're just gonna go again. This time just gas mode. Okay, let's try that again. You can really tell that we don't know what we're doing. Sounds like it's running. Well, it definitely sounds like it's running, but it's hard to tell. Like the only thing there's no throttle, so all I can do is just push that forward and see if it seems like it still wants to run a little bit, but
You got gas in.
yeah.
Let's
Should we
just
try-
Let's just start it on diesel.
Okay.
Let it get started. Let me get started, and then
I'll just-
have it in high gear, and then you push that forward, right?
Yeah, now that's full throttle diesel, I think.
Well, don't. Maybe pull it back and let me get started, and then push that forward.
Well, it won't be doing anything because the clutch.
Oh,
So you get going, and then I'll just leave this right here about half throttle,
okay.
and then I'll pull the clutch back.
Because it has been turning over, right?
Yeah, and I've got oil pressure,
Oh,
so
so let's see if we can get the old diesel engine started.
yeah. I do have some premium starting fluid here. So it has some top cylinder lubricant and rust inhibitor. So if I need to, we'll try giving it a shot of that. I'm gonna give it a shot of ether. Don't go out there. running. Yeah, let's let it run for a minute. There's that. Not very good, assuming that that gauge works. Assuming this gauge works, we do not have good pressure. Oh, you shut that off? Okay. I put oil in there. Pushing it forward is more throttle. It's really stiff, so if you pull it back, that's less throttle. A tiny shot, but what it liked the most was just more throttle. So I gave it a shot of ether and it popped once, but it didn't do anything after that. So then I just gave it like full throttle, and that's when it really started. So you can see reverse is all the way over and forward. Wait, stop! Hey, stop! These chains to get caught on something. number 4 cylinder that's not hitting. Number 1 is hitting. The exhaust manifold back here by number 4 is cold.
Yeah, it's hot there. So 1, 2, and 3 are hitting. I'm assuming either.
So we've got fuel here in the number 4. You can see it's coming out. But it doesn't change the way the engine is running at all. If I do it to number 3, 1, 2, or 3, you can see it wants to die. Same thing with 1 and 2, I did those. So it's got fuel here at number 4, but something is up and it doesn't want to fire. Okay, so right now it's operating in gasoline mode. I've got the starting lever propped back. And when it was in diesel mode, the number 4 cylinder was not firing. But now, in gas mode, it is firing, because if I pull the spark plug off, it wants to die. Ooh, that's hot. Watch. See? Did you hear the engine? So I think it wants to run. I think right now it's running on all 4. I don't know. If you guys know if this sounds like it's running as smoothly as it should, or if it's missing on one when it's in gas mode.
Is it gasoline? So it's running on gas. So it works.
Yes. Now, if I shut the fuel off, here, it should die shortly. Do it! Yeah, get up on there, see if it'll swap back over to diesel mode. You gotta do this also. You gotta do this one too. Push it forward. Now it's on diesel. What? Still the same. Now go back to gasoline mode. Pull that back. Oh, died.
What did we do?
I was trying to go into gasoline mode.
Yeah. Why didn't it? Because
I don't know, maybe
it was out of fuel. I don't know. But you turned the fuel on. But
I may not have pulled it back all the way.
yeah.
It might have been kind of in between.
Well, we succeeded in getting it running.
Yeah. Yep.
And the clutches work.
Yeah, that brake is stuck. We need to,
Yeah.
one brake, we need to fix this one brake. But,
Now, if we get the start motor, it'd be interesting to see if we can start it.
on gasoline,
But I'm trying to figure out what we need to do with that one cylinder.
I don't know. Well, that is fantastic. We got that thing running. As we were messing around, putting everything back this morning and into the afternoon, I thought, maybe this isn't going to happen. But, man, it started up and it runs okay. We've got to figure out why it's not running on all 4 cylinders. I don't know if it's an injector problem, if it's something up with the valves or the head. I don't know. It might be the injection pump. The pressure on that injection pump is really low. So I think the next step is going to be look at what it's going to take to get an injection pump rebuilt. Please, if you guys know or have experience getting injection pumps for these MDs or a TD-6, if you have experience getting those rebuilt, please put that information down below. I mean, I'll go and I'll do some Google searching, but if you guys have firsthand experience with a good company, that would be very much appreciated, because I'm probably just going to reach out to someone to get that injection pump rebuilt. And also the injectors, maybe get all of those injectors sent in to get checked or cleaned. And I think once we know that the injection pump and the injectors are good, then we can go from there.
We do have that extra head that has been gone through. So worst case, we could pop the head off, and I think this engine has sleeves, so I mean we could even do a rebuild. But I don't really want to do that. For now, let's just focus on basking in the glow of getting this thing running right now. The steering clutches seem to work. That one brake is a little bit sticky, but maybe with a little bit of time running it and working it, maybe they'll come around. Maybe that other injector will come around too. I don't know. So please put down below what your recommendations are as far as getting all 4 cylinders to run. If I need to just pop the head off and go in that deep, or if there's something that I can do, that's less internal. So anyway, I'm so glad, so excited to get that thing running. Once we get our starter back, then we'll be able to see if the starter will start the tractor on its own. We won't have to pull start it. So anyway, hey, thanks so much for watching, you guys. And as always, I'll see you next week with another video.